Hi, how are you? I actually have something exciting to share. I made my first sale of the year, and it was to this wonderful person named Amber who lives in Pennsylvania. And so I got to color in my first state in the map. And so I will apologize. I meant to record my bullet journal videos while I was out of town. However, I didn't. So there's going to be some gaps in things, and I apologize for the disruption in the schedule, but I'm back home, and so hopefully I can get back into the groove of posting. Also, just some pages I skipped. I still have to do February's temperature, however, I only have yesterday's temp, so I can't really do that, as in the temperature for the 3rd. So I can't really do much of February or the beginning of February and end of January. And then I don't have my average for screen time, however, that's not the biggest deal for me. But yeah, so some things are going to be skipped. I will do a video on those where I skipped, and then also my recording was being weird and whatnot. I guess I messed up at some point during the recording process, and so I was running very fast out of time and didn't have time to fully complete everything. I didn't do affirmations for the 30th through the 3rd. However, for the 4th and on, I will be bringing them back. And then I have another video surrounding my bullet journal that will also be in regards to January, just like a monthly recap to see how the month went for me. However, that will be later. Probably tomorrow. I'll probably post it around tomorrow. I have a lot going on. I finally cleared out my storage unit that I started renting years ago, around the time my husband and I got married. So I finally was able to clear that out, but now I have to find a place for everything that is from my storage unit, and then, getting back in the groove with being gone, getting our son back into his routine, and just on top of that, I have an order to pack. I have a lot to do. And then me scribbling out the temperature page here in February, it's because I had to redo the temperature page, which you'll see probably tomorrow when I start redoing that. But hopefully everything is fine now, and I can get back in the groove. I didn't do any writing while I was gone, although I'm not sure anyone's surprised about that. I did have my laptop, I didn't have internet access for most of it because the hotel had terrible Wi-Fi, and I don't like using my hotspot. So I really only had internet access for a very limited time, and when I was on the internet, I was going over my family tree with my grandfather. It was also nice to, visit family. A lot of our family finally got to meet our son, and that was great. It was nice seeing his grandparents, interact with him and seeing, how all of that went. But I will say I'm happy to be home back in Florida and whatnot. Didn't miss the heat, although it hasn't really been hot today. Just I'm not looking forward to the heat that we'll probably be experiencing at some point within the next week or so. I definitely don't miss how cold it was when we were driving to Louisiana, though. It was 28 degrees when we got to the hotel in Louisiana, and I was freezing. Luckily, though, the roads weren't frozen. Because I was very worried about, driving when it was going to be below freezing, because I didn't want to drive on icy roads. I've never driven on icy roads, and that sounds terrifying to me. But I didn't have to worry about that. It was a nice drive though, especially on the way back. There were a lot of deer. There were a few times while I was driving where I was worried that the deer were gonna like jump out into the road, and I didn't want that to happen because they tell you don't swerve because if you hit a tree, your insurance isn't gonna like cover it. But it's still terrifying.